Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of Patreon subscriber Brendan, I'm doing a dealer's choice to play whatever I want. And what I want to do is feature one of the most important decks in Legacy. This is Blue-Black Scam. The list is from H.J. Kaiser, multiple-time Eternal Weekend winner. Very smart, capable Legacy builder and player. This list is from the most recent Legacy Challenge, where H.J. Kaiser made top 8 of that event. I'm going to do a short side tangent here. If you want to hear over an hour on this conversation, check out this week's episode of the Eternal Glory podcast where we talk about it. There are 6 distinct tempo decks at the top of the Legacy metagame right now. Among the top 10 decks, there are 6 different tempo decks, and only one of them actually plays Delver of Secrets. It's just a really interesting time in the evolution of Legacy tempo. The Wasteland Daze Shell, not necessarily best supported by a flying 3-2 anymore. And this deck is one of those 5 decks that does not play Delver. You'll also notice this deck does not play Death Shadow. This is not the Shadow deck, which is a different deck. This is Blue-Black Scam. This version of the deck leverages the Reanimate engine much better than Death Shadow does. Death Shadow, in its current construction, basically only has Troll of Khazad Dum that you're really excited to bring back, or if you thought see something cool from your opponent. But this one has the full Grief Scam. Scam being the shorthand, community language shorthand for trying to cheese out your opponent by doing something way ahead of schedule and hoping it holds long enough to win the game. Exiling a black card to Grief, taking your opponent's best card, reanimating Grief, taking their second best card, and saying, bet, I have a 3-2. And now your hand sucks is a reasonable way to play Magic. Troll of Khazad Dum, also Swamp Cycle, put it in the graveyard, reanimate it. 6-5, really hard to block this thing. Good luck, backed by Force of Will and Daze. The difference between this deck and Death Shadow is this one actually has a plan to go pretty long. Death Shadow's endgame is started playing 1 mana 8/8s and just hope that they get over the finish line. This deck actually grinds. You've got Sauron's Ransom to reload, Lorien Revealed to reload. There's a real plan to play a game past turn 5 here. Mystic Sanctuary is in this deck. It's not in the Death Shadow deck. They're not planning to go that long, but we are. The second, third Sauron's Ransom will probably outgrind a lot of control decks, even if they do stabilize in the early game. Of course, in addition to Wasteland and Daze that I've already mentioned, this has 4 Orcish Bowmasters and 3 Murktide Regents. These are ubiquitous in the Blue-Black X shells in all the tempo decks. But no Delver, no Death Shadow, or Grief. We're really in on disrupting the opponent, getting a threat down, and just making it happen. And if it doesn't work, guess what? We can grind with the best of them by looping these draw 3 or more spells. Cool take on a somewhat familiar shell. Still have Reanimate, but we're not incinerating our life total with Watery Graves or things like that. And that's what's going on here. I'm just going to jump into this and see how it plays. This is Blue-Black Scam from Brendan, list by H.J. Kaiser. On the draw in round 1, unfortunately, these Lorien Revealeds, though they are treated like lands in deck building, they are not literally lands if you don't have one to get them going. Gonna have to mulligan this one. Come on now. Immediately getting punished by the flip side. This hand is actually super interesting, though, because I have Force Blue card, Grief Black card, and Reanimate. One land, like if I just top deck a land, we're cooking. I don't know if I can commit to this, but I do wonder if H.J. Kaiser or someone with more reps on this deck would consider a hand like this. I'm going to send it because I don't know the matchup. If I was sure they were some combo deck where 2 free pieces of interaction would slow them down enough to hit a couple draw steps, I'd probably be in. Gonna send it though. Okay. Alright, keep. We've got Lorien Revealed and Troll of Khazad Dum. Those are lands. Sauron's Ransom is probably a later problem. And between Brainstorm and Ponder, I think I'd rather have Ponder in this hand. Okay. Tough start on the mulligans. What is my actual land count? 16. Okay, yeah. This deck is definitely pushing the limits on how many actual lands you can put in a deck and be okay with the situation. I'm not going to play around Stifle. I'm just going to put this Wasteland into play. That might affect how they fetch or like make things weird for a little bit while I get myself set up here. A Bauble out of a double Misty Rainforest deck. Could be some kind of Storm strategy. Could be a Questing Druid Delver deck. I'm going to cycle this Swamp. I was going to do this anyway, but it does get the bonus of hiding the information they just got off their Mishra's Bauble. I would not shuffle specifically because of that, but I think it's fine to do it. If I'm doing it anyway. I mean, it's just nice, built in. I've got a Bowmaster now. You've got a Wasteland. Okay, Wasteland happens. Here's my Bowmaster. I drew another land and I have another Lorien, so I'm actually doing okay on lands at this point. Green in the pool. Oh, okay. Or just dazing, sure. Are we going to see a Hooting Mandrills right now? That would be annoying. At least they didn't float blue, though. That would represent Murktide Regent. No thanks. Up the Beanstalk. Okay, that's what you're doing. Interesting. I think I'm going to Wasteland them. And then cast Ponder. One of us is probably messing up here with the multiple Wasteland situation. Basic land, third Wasteland, force back up. I'm in for this. I can force Hooting Mandrills next turn. Okay, yeah, everyone's in idiot mode. They don't know I have 2 more Wastelands coming, and I do have this basic island in the meantime. Checkmate. There's a trop we know about. Ugh, they do have the Hooties. That was the one thing I was trying to dodge in the meantime here. I am going to force this. I just don't want that in play. They're outdrawing me, but I know I have 2 Wastelands here. Waste you again. This game is super weird. Volcanic Island. Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's cheating. Unfair to have a 1-drop. That actually attacks and blocks. Just going to keep it coming here. Relentless. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lands gone. Maybe I should brainstorm now when they can't daze me, but I think it's fine to wait. Wasteland, we got them. They're out of lands to play. And now I have the choice of Wastelanding or brainstorming on my own turn and seeing an extra card, or brainstorming now and maybe shoving Murktide Regent. I think I'd rather take it slow. Oh, Ponder is better than Brainstorm here. Reanimate, Force of Will. This is a shuffle. None of these cards are castable. Shuffle. Luda Delta played around the Wasteland and everything. Got him. They found a Bauble. They didn't have that last turn. That was clearly the draw, or else it would have been in play already. They are losing on the land situation. I can turn Brainstorm into a different card here, or I can just shove Murktide Regent ahead of Daze. I do have removal in my deck that I have some interest in casting or finding. There's a basic Swamp as well. If they have Force of Will, they can answer Murktide and draw a card. If they don't have Force of Will, they're in a ton of trouble. I could Brainstorm, try to find my way out from under Force of Will, or I could just shove threats until they lose. If I play this Underground Sea, I'm going to lose it. They didn't pop their Bauble. That makes me think they already have what they need in this spot. I am going to Brainstorm looking for removal rather than just shove my giant creature. Reanimate, Daze, Bowmaster. What does Reanimate do? Gets Troll of Khazad Dum into play. However, they are bashing me with a 3/3. Daze doesn't help because the Wasteland is there to pay mana. If I walk them into Wastelanding my Underground Sea, then Daze is good. But if I Reanimate Troll, then I'm at 7. What does that even look like? I put back Bowmaster and Regent in that order. Regent on top. And then, okay, so Bowmaster, Regent go back. I Reanimate, they Wasteland, and then I can Daze their Force on my Murktide and I'm stable next turn. But they can Bauble and see my Murktide there. I think this is still my best line. Mandrills and Troll both cost 6. And if they spend a Force on this, that's a Force they don't have for Murktide. Bobbling, seeing the Murktide on top. That's actually super unfortunate. That they got to see the trap I was trying to walk them into. I was just zapping off Wasteland in response. Now I can Daze them. Weird. That was a weird time to Wasteland. I guess they didn't have counterplay anyway. Okay, this thing has to fight. But if they miss the land drop now, I'm going to be feeling pretty good. I am fetching into bolt range, though, which is a problem forever. Underground Sea, Murktide Regent, all spells, maximum size. Wow, that's just in there. Okay. Even if they jam off a bolt on me, I can daze it. They'd have to daze back. I think they just told me they don't have force. But they could draw a land and bolt daze. But no, we did it. Okay. Sweet. Just bigger creatures beating their junk. I like removal. I do like pressuring their graveyard. These delve-heavy Beanstalk decks are pretty reliant on having a graveyard. Extra removal's cool. I don't know if Palantir is for tempo mirrors or just control matchups, but I'm going to think about it. Cards I'd like to remove. Probably not hyped about Force of Will, knowing the matchup, and that they're a Beanstalk deck that can rebuild, and I'm just not. Uh-oh, I like all my cards. What do I do with that? I could just leave the Palantir out, keep all my dazes. I think Daze is the next card I would cut here. Just shave 1 daze for a Palantir, but I think I'm good on threats. I would just like some amount of interaction on the stack, enough to keep them honest. And this looks good to me. Oh, baby. Give me that grief. Keeping my hand. They went to 6. That's good news, because my plan is to take all the rest of their cards. 2 Reanimates. I think I want to save this Polluted Delta for possible Brainstorm action. I am going to play around Daze. And I'm going to exile one of the Reanimates, actually. And I follow up with Voidwalker on turn 2. So I guess if I wanted to lock in that, I would have had to play around Wasteland a little bit. They do have Wasteland. They do have Stifle. Interesting. I'm glad I didn't play the Polluted Delta. Okay. I'm going to take... I could just reanimate the Hoots. Is that better? Though if they waste me their turns away from Beanstalks, they could Stifle the Grief trigger on the way back in. That's the same as taking Stifle, except it puts the decision in their hand. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Stifle and then Hoots. Take the Stifle, reanimate, take the Hoots. And if they Wasteland me, then they're not playing Beanstalk. If they're not playing Beanstalk, their hand is bad. There's the Wasteland. How are they choosing to play this game? Yep, just aggressively is the answer. Sure. I got more lands where that came from, and Troll of Khazad Dum in the house. I'm not going to let them stifle me. If they fetch, I'll fetch in response. If they play Beanstalk next turn, I'll take that tap out to get my thing going. Here's the bulk. Here's a fetch. There's the beans. And I'm just going to fetch Underground Sea and then cycle Troll for Underground Sea also. They'll have to Wasteland all this stuff. And I'm trying to cast both Dauthi Voidwalker and Murktide Regent this game. Can't just play on basics for that. Voidwalker... Don't know anything about their hand anymore. They could have any kind of free permission or just a lightning bolt or whatever. Daze, yep, that is one of the more annoying things they could have. But Murktide is on next turn as a 4/4. Hooties that draw a card, okay. Lightning bolt stabilizes for them. And they have it. They started to pass the turn and then change their mind. Sure. Okay, with 2 Murktides, I think I just want to shove one of them. Leaving Troll of Khazad Dum in the graveyard. Yeah, that resolved right away. Unfortunately, it's not bigger than Hoots. Dismember. Embarrassing. Alright, I got Children's Edict, though. I'll just stabilize and start to rebuild. Not a big deal. Oh, baby. Oh, Reanimate Troll of Khazad Dum. It's bigger than Hoots. Though I'm at 3. Or no, I'm at 4. So I do lose the race, ultimately. Yeah, I can't actually do that. Disappointing. I'm going to have each opponent sacrifice a non-token creature just right now. Okay. The coast is clear. Maybe it's reasonable to reanimate there, leave up the blocker for the turn. But if they have another Dismember, I just die. And just dying is not really how I'm trying to play the game. This Bowmasters kind of changes the vibe a bit. I was going to reanimate something, but now I can kind of pressure the Beanstalk and... Heck yeah. Okay, there's a Ponder. Let's see if we can get multiple triggers out of this, or if they found a Bolt or Daze since then. Cool, we're in there. Might still get bolted, but take one. Sure. Okay, the pressure's on here. And I can reanimate that if I want something smaller to protect my life total. Scalding Tarn off of a shuffled Ponder. Yeah, that land is good. Attack with my Orc. I'm going to Brainstorm, actually, because I don't think I want Murktide Regent anymore. I think the Troll's going to win me this game. And this might bait out a Pyroblast. Cool. Wasteland, Reanimate, Brazen Borrower, Retroll. Alright, I'll put Brazen Borrower on top. Play Wasteland to play around Daze. Reanimate Troll. And they didn't Daze, so now I'm going to waste their red. They can't double bolt me out. Though if they have it in the end step, that works. Oh, they do have Stifle. Maybe I should have waited till their turn to do this. But Stifle's pretty bad on this board. I hope their hand does have Stifle in it. Yeah, sure, whatever. One card in hand, dead on board. Their hand would have to be 2 lightning bolts here for me to be concerned about life. Blue in the pool. Brazen Borrower bouncing. Troll is annoying. Murktide, they're still dead on board. They'd have to cantrip into something off the beans. It is a Murktide. They get a draw. They know right now if they've won or lost. We're going to find out in a second. Okay. They get one more look at Dismember, which puts them to 2. Ponder. Okay. They're getting... that taps them out of, what, all answers? What 0 mana answer is there? Yeah, okay. Cool. Alright, yeah. That was just a handling. My Disruption... I felt like I was behind at points in both games, but maybe game 2 I wasn't behind. But yeah, Scamming Grief collapsing their whole opening hand was pretty good, and then had them on the back foot. Game 1, I definitely felt behind, and then my better creatures just showed up. That was cool. Let's go. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in round 2, and I'm going to keep this hand. It doesn't have the whole scam, but I can take a peek and then use my cantrips to decide what I care about. I think I pitched the Snuff out to the Grief, as I have 2 removal spells. One of them hits any size thing but costs life, and one of them's cleaner. Yeah, I'm just going to Grief my opponent pitching Snuff out. See what's going on over there, and how I need to respond to it. It's cool that on the play you don't need to commit your land drop first, because you don't have to respect Daze here. Okay, Brainstorm, Dress Down, Lorien Revealed, Prismatic Ending, Uro. Well, I'm certainly not taking Uro. Dress Down, kind of a bummer on future Grief action, but I think it's just Brainstorm. Try to contain the information. If they only had 1 land, I would consider Lorien Revealed, but they already have 2 and multiple other ways to draw into more of them, so I'm going to take the B-Storm. And I know we're in for a grindy long time here. Gonna ponder with that in mind. There's Reanimate and Orcish Bowmaster and another land. I like all these cards. Okay, yep. I am completely in on this setup. I think I want to Reanimate before I Bowmaster, because I can get under the Dress Down now. I could even Brainstorm first, get rid of this Fatal Push that I don't really like in the matchup. Okay, let's move some cards around. Brainstorm. Daze, that's a good one. Fatal Push sucks, and how many lands am I going to need here? I could get rid of Underground Sea, just Reanimate, and then Daze Bowmaster my way up out of here. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Underground Sea, Reanimate Grief. This one gets ahead of the Prismatic Ending, and I'm ahead of the Dress Down. Ooh, force some negation pitching Dress Down, sure. Well, got ahead of the Dress Down one way or the other. They're fetching in the end step, probably to cycle. Playing on basics. Can't play on basics forever with your at least 3-color deck. There's a Tundra. A Wasteland, fuck me. Okay, we might have just gotta draw a land. Great, okay. Well, I can cast Daze at least. Let's see if that aggressive Wasteland will burn the control deck over time. Come on, Black Source. There's that Fatal Pushback. Alright, well, that Miracle Wasteland, that was the one card I didn't know about in their mix there. I can hardcast Daze on Uro. Oh, jeez, here's Brainstorm. Would have been nice to Bowmaster that. Okay, everything's falling apart. I built a plan based on them not wastelanding me, and here we are. If they want to shuffle that Brainstorm, though, they better have basic planes in their deck. Okay, they just did not shuffle it. There's the Tundra. Here's a Trop. Here's my Daze that I am casting for the gold price. All right, black source off the top. Let's stabilize this game. That's kind of a black source, though I think wasting them is probably more important. Wasteland your white. That cuts off the prismatic ending we know to be in the hand. Swamp Cycle. I'm going to get the basic. I'm not falling for this shit again. And all the spells in my hand are castable here. Backup Tundra sucks. Backup Uro sucks even more. Do they have land number 4? They do. They can cast Uro next turn. Grief. Interesting. I don't think this is a card I want this turn. Grief can turn on Revolt for Fatal Push in the future, though. God, they have land number 5. If they have also land number 6, then Prismatic Ending works here. Okay, I'm going to respond to Uro with Bowmaster. Paying it for 1. This feels feeble and pointless at this point. Hope they don't have the next land to Prismatic Ending right away. Of course they do. They chose to play around Daze. I'm happy with that. I'm not happy that my other Bowmaster is my black card to pitch. If I just let Uro start attacking me, how bad does that world get? I end up with a 4/4, and I can ping Uro for 2. That's actually kind of sick. They get to draw cards, but I'm actually going to grief them pitching the Fatal Push, because killing Uro here is barely even good, because it just comes back immediately. All right, what do you got, opponent? Prismatic Ending land. All right, well, I've committed to putting an Uro in, leaving Uro in play, which is dangerous, but I think that's better than just spending 3 cards to kill it, and then it just comes back. This way I can spend 0 cards to kill it, and it still comes back, but that's happening anyway. Mystic Sanctuary, fuck my life. Yep, there's the ending. Goodbye, Bowmaster. Get an attack here. Time for the other Bowmaster, which does not result in a dead Uro, so I'm just going to go face, and I'm going to take 6 on this attack. Oh wait, did that result in a dead Uro? Oh no, I get the ETB. Oh shit, I did have Uro dead. I forgot about the ETB trigger. I'm such a brick. Fucking had it and just like said no thanks. Can you tell I haven't played with a lot of Bowmaster? I've been experimenting elsewhere. Yeah, I forgot I get an ETB on this one. I actually had 1 more point than I thought I did. Okay, attack with Bowmaster. Because Orc Army kills Uro in combat now, just on its own. Awkwardly, Grief no black card, Force no blue card. Okay, Uro. Deal 1 to Uro on the attack. Block with my 5/5. Both players are pretty happy with this deal, unfortunately. Ponder, okay. Ping you for 1. Did not shuffle. Lots of white cards in their deck. There's one of them. Thanks, Swords. Thanks, Force of Will. Good to see you in my hand. Helping me 0. Yeah, this whole game was based on trying to keep a low land count in the early turn, and that Wasteland just fucked me up. My Brainstorm could have kept the second Underground Sea, but we had just seen their hand, and they did basically nothing to manipulate it. The Brainstorm came after the Wasteland. Okay, removal spell? Force of Will, fuck you. Thanks for showing up. Forcing that Uro actually would have been pretty solid. Now I just wait for death. I'm not blocking yet. There is still... Is there a Fatal Push in my deck, or did I pitch that? Yeah, there's 1 Fatal Push left in my deck. Loam, targeting your lands. Wasteland, no targets played around it. Got him. Lorien revealed. All right. I've had enough of this game. Okay, tough beats, but that's okay. Voidwalkers, I like shutting down their graveyard stuff and just more threats. Palantir is a non-creature threat I can throw at them. Surgical Extraction, I'm not entirely in love with, but taking Uro out of this game is such a big deal. Fatal Push can come out. I think I shave a Daze and a Force. Now, on the play, Daze is good, but they're also an Uro deck with Life from the Loam and way more lands than me. Do I want Edict over Snuff Out as well? Snuff Out kills Uro. Edict can kill Minskin Boo, Comet, Teferi, Narset, etc. Yeah, this setup makes sense to me. I'm gonna do it. Okay, one lander grief scam start. I'm in. Sucks to lose my Voidwalker, but that's the cost of doing business. It's called grief, it's not called happiness. Brainstorm, Endurance, Minsk can boost Surgical Extraction. So they have multiple ways to break up my turn 1 scam here. But I'm going to make it cost them a bunch of spells. I'm taking the Surgical. And then if they want to lose Endurance and Minsk and Boo here, we can play that game. And I do have to fetch Underground Sea. And if they top deck a Wasteland, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. Okay. They determined this was not worth 2 cards or not worth friggin' dying to Daze over. I don't really want them to have Brainstorm, but I also kind of need to cast Ponder on my turn. I think I take Minor Misstep here. I wish I didn't care about that card, but I do. There's Flooded Strand. We knew about that one. Orcish Bowmaster, Ponder, let's go. Find that land. Find that land. Not all land. Shuffle this shit. 2 Bowmasters in Forest, not what I'm looking for. Troll is a land next turn, kinda. Okay, I mean, they know my shields are down. I can't imagine this deck has more than 2 Wastelands. It's probably 1 or 2, exactly. Tundra, hate that. Oh, good, they drew Swords to Plowshares. Nice. Good job. Just draw a land right now so I can Bowmaster this. Alright. I really wanted to Bowmaster this Brainstorm that they're definitely going to cast this turn. But this is what we got to work with instead. Misty Rainforest. Okay, they're leaping up Endurance rather than casting Brainstorm. I'm going to cycle again. I'm going to get the basic just in case. Might be too late to coward out on that now. Don't Brainstorm. Don't Brainstorm. They might be thinking about Endurancing right now. Okay, I've untapped. Oh, sick. Well, that is the Reanimate. They did just leave up Endurance. I could just shove Murktide, but then I don't snag the Brainstorm with Bowmaster anymore. Would they just leave mana unspent for a whole turn? It would be pretty sick to get the Murktide under. If they have a land, they shove Minsk and Boo. I guess I have that beat with Murktide. If I Murktide, though, they Brainstorm, and then white removal is a problem. I'm just going to try to be patient here and make them spend their mana at times they don't want to. Yeah, they just didn't Brainstorm, didn't do anything in the end step. End of turn. I'm going to keep playing chicken. If I find another land, I get to just do everything I want. Oh, sick. Grief could force some action. How long do I want to play Draw Go against this control deck? I could just pitch the Reanimate to Grief. Make them do something. Because Reanimate doesn't work with Endurance around anyway. But if they just Endurance in response, then I can... Oh, no, Reanimate's gone, right? Yeah, I'm actually going to pitch the Reanimate to Grief. And just try to sidestep the cards that I know they have. And walk them into a spot where they get BTFO'd by Bowmaster. Dress down. That's for cops. I get to keep my Grief, though. If I Bowmaster now, I do get a ping, but they can Brainstorm in response. They could Brainstorm this turn anyway. Yeah, I think I'm just going to keep protecting my Bowmaster and enjoy my 3-2. If I played Murktide right now, it would show up as a 3-3. And I don't really want that to happen. Yeah, they're going to Brainstorm now in response to their Dress Down dying. Here is the Brainstorm. At this point, they can either read that I have a Bowmaster and they've outmaneuvered me on it, or that I just have a handful of like counters on removal. Teferi Time Raveler. Okay, that card sucks against Bowmaster. I'm going to get this buddy in right now. Okay, we're in there. Now, no matter what they do with this Teferi, it dies unless it's backed up by another removal spell. Okay, bouncing the Grief instantly kills the Teferi. Deal. Takes some pressure off of them, but Bowmaster is messed up. And now I've wiggled into a spot where my Murktide, like, Endurancing me is not even good. Wasteland, hello. Okay, I'm going to attack. If they have something like Snapcaster Mage, or like Icebank Coatl doesn't work because the draw would kill it. I'm going to Wasteland their white. And they can fetch more white, it's fine, but taking them off of that at least gives me a starting point. Leaving a troll in my graveyard for future reanimating. And passing the turn. End step, cycling Lorien Revealed. Good call. You better not cast that right now. Found another Trop, so they're not interested in replacing the white I just took, or they just don't need more than 1 white. Green can cast the Endurance, which eats Bowmasters in combat, but doesn't stop Murktide. My next land can hardcast Grief. Not anymore. They figured that out. Wasteland time. Ponder. I like that card. I'm going to cast it. A Reanimate is here. And so is another Grief and a Daze. Daze sucks. I'm not in love with the backup Grief. I am going to put the Reanimate in my hand and attack with Murktide. And then I'm just going to chill. If they had flashed in Endurance and blocked, I could have reanimated the Endurance second main, clear their graveyard. If they Endurance now, then my Troll's gone, but I can Grief Reanimate next turn. Yeah, I was just not going to give them that Reanimate for free. And Murktide gets bigger because Ponder left my graveyard. Got him. They're fetching in response again. There's Mystic Sanctuary in their deck, but all right, they got Swords to Plowshares, but they don't currently have a white source. I have to assume that means they have another one. Blue-green in the pool. Play from Loam. Yeah, that certainly results in a white source. Plowing Murktide, sure. And I know they have Minsk and Boo, 2 lands, and 1 unknown. Grief pitching Grief. Fudge. That was the card that I didn't want them to have. Okay, Bowmaster, target, Orc Army. Their creatures have hexproof and stuff. All right, yep, Grief eats a dick. And now they can Minsk and Boo me next turn. That's really annoying. I guess reanimating Grief here is still good, though. Yeah, whatever. No. I'm not going to fall for that. Just put it back into play. Nobody discards anything, but I have a big attacker. Veil of Summer, jeez. This opponent has done extremely well in the random card drawing contest of they have 1 unknown card. Wasteland you. They have 1 unknown card. Veil of Summer. Cool. Well done. Yep, Wasteland you. 1 unknown card. Wasteland you. Did I know about that? No, they didn't even pick that off of the loam. Or no, they did. They did. I did know about that. All right. Rage is over. They can put a 4/4 creature into play here if they've held on to the Minsk and Boo, which I assume they have, because it's very good. Okay, they have a 4/4. I am basically dead here. If I attack with everything, they have to block on Orc Army and Bowmaster, because Grief, if they double block Grief, they take, or no, they have 5 life, not 4. All right, we've lost. That was a tight one. Mapped out what I needed to map out, made a plan both games. In both games, the top of the opponent's deck was like, yeah, you're not doing that plan right now. And I mean, that's the flip side of scam decks. You clear the way, and then you say bet, and if the opponent calls your bet, then you don't win. But just timely, important spells when that was exactly what you needed. You got it. On to the next one. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting TCG events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 1v1 and 4-player Swiss structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no download required. Get access for just $5 at eminence.event/subscribe. I'm on the draw in round 3, and I believe you're supposed to keep hands like this if you build a 16-land deck built on your cycling creatures. I hope I draw a black card. If I draw a black card, or a land, so if I draw a black card that's not Troll, I can Grief them to just check what's going on, buy time to reanimate Grief next turn off my cycled land. Or if I draw a land, I can pitch the Troll and just Grief them now. That's a black card. Okay, I'm going to play Wasteland, and I'm going to Grief them, exiling Fatal Push. Playing around Daze here. Grief's in. I haven't mentioned it this video, but make sure you stack the Evoke trigger under the discard trigger. If you have the Grief die before you see their hand, that opens you up to Endurance, Surgical, that kind of thing. This way is almost always better. I imagine you could invent a corner case where you wanted to die first, like maybe if you're trying to remove Bridge from Belows or something. I don't know. There's probably some spot. Magic's a big game. Okay, we're playing against Doomsday. Personal Tutor gets the Doomsday, but they'd have to fetch an Underground Sea to do it, which gets Wastelanded. I'm going to take the Brainstorm here. I don't want them changing this hand. I just want to know what I'm up against and make a plan accordingly. There's the Misty. Even if they do randomly have a basic island in this deck and then commit to a multi-turn line of finding Dark Ritual to facilitate the Doomsday, I can wasteland their Polluted Delta. Like if they fetch Misty, basic island, personal tutor, then I waste Polluted Delta and they either lose the land or lose the card they just tutored for. Underground Sea in the grip. Basic Swamp, thanks for showing up. But yeah, I'm going to reanimate. Do I care about Grief or do I just want to get them dead with Troll? I think I actually just want them dead with Troll. I think they're going to force either one here, but clock's on, homie. Here I come. Yeah, force pitching Personal Tutor. Oh no, did they draw the Doomsday naturally? But if they have Doomsday, they don't have land. There's Force of Will, one mystery card in their hand. And Doomsday's super annoying because they can just bring it all together from one or two random draw steps and then LOL, you're dead. I got 3 more Reanimates in the deck and cantrips to go look for them. I think I'd rather Brainstorm with this hand because I don't actually like the cards in it. At least 2 of them are not good. Okay, found a cycle. That means I can get rid of Mystic Sanctuary and Basic Swamp. And I can cycle Troll for a shuffle and then cast Ponder. I think I actually like that. Because I have Days up that can challenge them if they suddenly decide it's time to commit lands to the board. Another Grief that I can hardcast next turn. A second Wasteland if they try to get rowdy. Brazen Borrower is mediocre. I think I like this spread of cards, though. I'm going to put Borrower on the bottom, Grief into my hand now, and Wasteland under it. If they decide it's time to commit to some big play, double Wasteland could collapse their game plan. If they don't, I'll just cast Grief and see what they want to do about that. Spend another 2 cards on it with their Force of Will. Right, yeah, we're just playing draw go over there. I'm not pressuring them, so it makes sense that that's the game they want to play. Here's my Grief. We're getting a fetch. It's go time. Tropical Island, oh no. What the shit? Okay, I was not ready for that. 3/2's in play. Okay, we are Bug Doomsday, or are we somehow not Doomsday? Is this like Show and Tell that plays Personal Tutor? Are we suddenly getting Omni Shown? And I blew it? They see the Wasteland in play, though. It's time to do something, or else they're about to have all their mana cut out. Oh, they're passing into my Wasteland. I like it. Hey, I'm going to attack them, and I'm going to Wasteland them in combat. In the end of combat step. This is where it gives them a chance to try to interact with Grief, and if they don't, then they don't have this mana in my main phase. They floated a blue, sacking Edge of Autumn. Okay, sure. That's kind of playing around Wasteland, I guess. Ponder. Daze, Brainstorm, Fatal Push. Do I think double Daze is the way forward? Hey, maybe. Their mana's in trouble. Don't shuffle, then I have Wasteland. I'll just heads up Brazen Borrower if they don't make me daze them. If they resolve a Doomsday from this spot, they go to 7, and if they fetch, they still go to 7. If they fetch twice, they're at 6 and dead to Brazen Borrower. Okay, they're not going to fetch twice, and this is some kind of bug nonsense deck. Okay, Dark Ritual, pretty good. That means I can't daze effectively here. Or yes, I can. I could Wasteland the Polluted Delta, then daze twice. Interesting. Do I think I can beat their pile? If Doomsday resolves before they fetch, then I actually have lethal. Okay, I'm going to let this happen. And then I can play... They go to 7 when this resolves. I can Brazen Borrower, which puts lethal on board if they ever want to use this Polluted Delta. And I can double daze their Force if they try to fight over Brazen Borrower. I don't normally advocate for trying to beat the Doomsday pile, but I think I have a better chance in this game of doing that than anything else. Because if I Wasteland, daze, they pay, daze again, Force, then I am out of my ability to present lethal. Also, letting this Doomsday resolve shows me this crazy bug build of Doomsday going into the sideboard game, so I know what to think about. And if they try to present a win right now, they have 2 cards in their hand. If they, like, cycle Street Wraith right now, I can respond to that with Wastelanding Polluted Delta, and then that'll shuffle their pile and maybe mess it up enough, and that's a moment where they don't have Force Blue card. They can't possibly have it. Okay, I'm going to print screen this deck and just make sure we know what's going on. Veil of Summer. It just looks like a bunch of Veil of Summers in what's otherwise a pretty normal Doomsday deck. 4 Dazes. Okay. Now I just put lethal on the board. Okay, that just resolved. Didn't even try to force it. Okay, attack you with these. You're at 1, and I can Brainstorm and then Wasteland. Sauron's Ransom, not helpful. Yeah, I'm going to Wasteland the Bayou. I know they put a Edge of Autumn in the pile. Just gotta hope this Polluted Delta makes them dead. And they can't win otherwise. Sacking the Delta straight up. Okay. That's scary. They're gonna have to draw another card somehow. Oh, that land was not Cavern of Souls. I think we're good. Okay. Daze. Not often you get to daze a Thoughtless Oracle. That feels good. Sick. Alright. Beat BS Doomsday with their main deck Veil of Summer. Who's a fancy beast now? Whatever. Still died. Okay. Force of Negation, Dress Down, definitely happening. Surgical is one of those cards where it's like, I am a deck with discard. If I can grief them, take a Doomsday Surgical Extraction, then it becomes very difficult for them to win games of Magic. Edict, Snuff Out, Fatal Pushes come out. Cool thing about Orcish Bowmaster is that even if they do pivot onto like a Bowmaster, Dothi, Voidwalker, Oppo Agent kind of juke, Bowmaster still just kills those things. It's just a removal spell. Sheoldred, I still have Brazen Borrowers to interact with, and Brazen Borrower, as we just learned, having 3 power of flying is probably good enough. Well, that's 4 in, 4 out for the very obvious ones. Is there another card that is worse than Surgical Extraction in my deck right now? I just shouted out Brazen Borrower as one of my answers to Sheoldred. Brazen Borrower is blue for my 6 forces, where Surgical is black for my 4 griefs. Sauron's Ransom is kind of a slower card for slower games, but it is blue and black for everything that cares about all that. Maybe Murktide Regent being kind of chunky and a sorcery speed threat. It's -1 blue card, but every card in the deck is blue or black, unless I cut a Wasteland, which, as a 16-land deck that relies on the filters, I don't think I'm sold on that. Also, I think Wasteland actually won me that game. I'm going to do it like this. This makes enough sense to me. Ugh. Force, daze, blue card, no land. I don't think we keep these even in this matchup. There we go. Keep this, send the Mystic Sanctuary to the bottom. Carpet of Flowers. That card's a bit of a dick. I can play basic swamps for a while. I could force this. That feels bad. We saw 4 days. Alright. Gonna try to run them out of cards instead of trying to control their mana. I do have reasonable game plans that can be played only on basic swamp. My hand currently doesn't contain one of them, though. That's interesting. If Ponder finds me a blue card, or a black card, I can grief them now, and then Reanimate Grief next turn. I'm going to try to make that happen. Right now, Daze is live. Okay, Grief Wasteland. Not super excited about Wasteland. I do like the backup force. Okay, I am keeping this. Don't shuffle the library. Grief them right now while they can't Veil of Summer me. If they force this, I daze it. If they daze it, I daze it. If I daze here, I don't control an island next turn. That rules. All right, how far down the rabbit hole you want to go with me here? Because now that I've picked up my Underground Sea, I have Force of Will on top of my deck. I can fetch Basic Island, Reanimate, or Basic Swamp, Reanimate Grief, and I have Counter Backup and Carpets of Brick. I think they're debating right now if this is worth a Force of Will. There's kind of a long pause. Okay, the day is resolved. They might still force the Grief. Nope, we're in there. Show me your moves. Okay, they're on this Bowmaster, Force of Will, Juke nonsense. The Caverns in their hand. Their hand sucks, actually. It sucks real bad. If I take Daze, they don't have a blue card for Force. They can't play this Bowmaster right now. And I'm way more worried about Daze than I am about Force. The only question is, do I just leave them with their shitty counter spells and rock the Bowmaster? I think I take Daze now and I just take Bowmaster next turn. Okay, pass the turn. I'm drawing a Force, so I know I can beat a Force. I just don't want to have to 2-for-1 myself fighting over a Daze. Carpet of Flower, triggers, resolves, don't care. Hope they didn't draw a Veil of Summer right now. That's the one that would annoy me. I'm still like fine, I can Force of Will, but I don't like it. Swamp, Reanimate, Grief, send it. We're in there. What do you got? Bowmaster Doomsday. Doomsday is just never being cast here. I'm taking the Bowmaster. Their hand is Doomsday, Cavern of Souls, Force of Will. None of their mana sources, or none of their lands cast Doomsday. They're relying on me giving them islands. Even if they draw the Dark Ritual, they can't cast it here. Race is on. And they're not even showing the Cavern. That's exposes them to Wasteland on their protected out. I'm not going to feed this carpet. I'm just going to play on this swamp. Because if nobody does anything, I win this game from here. This is my spot. They need to come up with triple black and blue card to protect their Doomsday. Brainstorm is another blue card. If I get blue card, I'm going to feel pretty indestructible. Right now, if they Doomsday, they go to 7. Next turn, if they Doomsday, they go to 5. Grief basically attacks for 4.5 damage in this matchup. Oh, sick. Force blue card, force blue card. You're dying fast. I'm not feeding the fish. From here, we have seen Veil of Summer, which solves a lot of problems. If they Veil of Summer, then land Ritual Doomsday, force back up. That's the way this could go wrong. I hope I draw a Wasteland. At least cut that off as an out. Daze. That's a reason to have an island into play, but I also have a lot of reasons not to have an island in play. Okay, pros and cons. If I play the island, I might unlock black mana that they've been failing to play the game because they don't have. I could Brainstorm in response, and I gain an extra counter layer. I'm still going to just bet against. Because this is the last turn, they can Doomsday and pass the turn without just being dead on board. A Ponder, yeah, go for it. That's not my fight. And if they fetch Doomsday, they're dead on board. If they force to protect Doomsday, they're dead on board. We're just going coast to coast. I'm not playing your game. You're playing my game. You're in here with me. They did not shuffle. They have something resembling a shot here. Okay, no shuffle, still passing. We're in second main. Oh, there's the Cavern. Yeah, you better start making land drops. It's clear I don't have a Wasteland. I would have used it 100 years ago. Bowmaster is an Orc Archer. Oracle is a Merfolk Wizard. There's no overlap there. That would be messed up. Well, Cavern of Souls on Bowmaster and Oracle. Glad that's not the case. They do appear to be thinking pretty hard about this. This thing has been highlighted way longer than it normally is. They chose Beeble. Okay, I think they're just goofing around because they're dead. There's not actually a Beeble, right? I don't actually know the answer to that because of secret layers and shit, or Universes Beyond. I don't know, maybe there's a playable Beeble. There's not another swamp in the deck that's not an island, and I'm not giving up this position after playing 8 turns with this as my whole game plan. I'm ready to rock. Were they actually just picking the funniest creature type to die? Okay, Bowmaster can double block and actually kill the Grief and stabilize. Is it time to play an Underground Sea? I think it actually is. I hope this doesn't unlock their game plan after playing this way for the whole game. But this gives me more action against a Bowmaster. And I'm just going to pass here. I now have force blue card, force blue card, force blue card. That's enough to Veil of Summer. And if they force the will to protect their Doomsday, they die, because half of 1 rounded down is 0. Or rounded up, I guess, depending on what direction you think about it. But rounding up, half of 1 is 1, which makes you dead. We got GG's in the chat. Thoughtseize going out like a boss. Should I force it? I'm not gonna. Have a look, and then die. Okay, sick. Yeah, that was a case of not letting them do what they want. Even though I wasn't doing what I want either, they were doing less of what they want. This is a conversation I had recently in a coaching session about someone who's moving from CEDH into Legacy. And we were kind of talking about, they were like, yeah, I just feel like I have to do something or I'm falling behind. And that's not true when you only have one opponent. If your opponent's doing less than you, then you're moving ahead. It's not about always doing the most. Sometimes it's about just, not making your second land drop for the whole game because they played a Carpet of Flowers. And then you win. On to the next one. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, Check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I'm on the play in round 4. I'm going to keep this hand. Island Ponder, am I right? And I'm going to crack off the Ponder now off of a basic. If I find a Grief, I'm not even done playing cards this turn. If I find a Reanimate, I'll have a 6/5 next turn. Hello? That's a Reanimate. I'm going to put the Brainstorm in my hand and pass here. Mishra's Bauble, off an opponent who mulled to 6. They see the Reanimate on top. Volcanic Island. Oh, this kind of rules. I'm just going to Wasteland them. Stifle shit. So, funny story. The other day I was recording and I was like, why did my opponent waste me in my upkeep instead of on their own turn? And that's exactly why. As soon as I clicked Wasteland, I was like, oh shit, I just had this situation. And now they can play spells on their turn, when if I wasted in their upkeep, they would not be able to do spells. Yeah, that was loosey-goosey, kids. Tighten up. Eternal Weekend's coming. Brainstorm, Scalding Tarn. They know I have Reanimate in my hand. Alright, well, I've played around Daze. I'll get 2 cards off of this if they're playing Force. Okay, Force pitching Daze. I don't think I want to Brainstorm here. I'd have to hit Force blue card because they're also playing around Daze. Yeah, this sucks. This whole game could have been possibly so much easier. Like, they just don't get that Brainstorm on their turn if I stifle at the correct time. It's bad magic. Okay, we see Rug cards, Rug colors with Stifle. What's going on now? You got a Beanstalk, you got a Hootie, you got a Beanstalk into Hootie. Ooh, Taiga. It's not always in those decks. Alright, Uro's a beating. Remember this card? I love this card, but I hate it in this league when I'm playing this deck. We've seen Daze in their deck too, so I'm not in a hurry to fire off Brainstorm in the end step, even though I can shuffle it with Troll. I'll Brainstorm now, see if I can get something going. More Trolls. That means I don't need lands, basically, ever. Wasteland. Go after your Tropical Island. Just trying to keep this Uro out of play. And I'm going to Swamp Cycle now, because I know I want to shuffle, and I know they play Stifle. The Uro didn't put in a land, which indicates to me they don't currently have one. Sylvan Library, disgusting. Okay. My plan is to Wasteland their Volcanic Island, and then bounce the library. I'm bouncing the Volk because that card casts Daze. Alright, don't force me here. Shit. Me without a Daze. And notice they pitched a Daze to that Force, so wasting the Volk was absolutely correct. Now they can Library forever, but I am a Bowmaster deck. We'll see if they find their way out of this. They're 2 land drops away from a Murktide. They kept 1 extra card, played Sanctuary tapped. Alright. Come on, threat. Ponder, find me a Reanimate, find me a Bowmaster. Oh, Brazen Borrower? I actually don't hate that. Don't shuffle the library. Petty Theft, the Sylvan Library. Do you have main deck Veil? Do you have main deck Pyroblast? Are you going to force me again? Okay. That's gone. And then I'm going to cycle Troll in my upkeep to not draw those cards. Ponder. Okay. And they just redrew the card they put back off library. They haven't seen a new card this turn. They are finding lands, though. Ugh. And Uro is threatening a re-arrival right now. Swamp Cycle. Grab a C. Draw for my turn. Orcish Bowmasters. You love it. Main phase this. Put a price on Sylvan Library. Tilt. There's no price on Sylvan Library. Ponder. They kept 0 extra cards. They shuffled the library. Brainstorm. They're digging for this land for Uro. And if they find it, they're in good shape. Sylvan Library, hell of a card. Brainstorm, lock. Brainstorm, lock. Okay, Brainstorm does not appear to have found a land. Hey, Reanimate. Attack you with my Orc army. What is my best Reanimate target here? Gotta be Troll, right? They're Rug. How are they going to answer this Troll? Yeah, Reanimate the Troll. And I have Brazen Borrower on layaway. Is your hand Force blue card right now? It's not. Cool. Alright. Pass the turn. I got real attackers now. They have to go through their 2 Brainstorm cards on the Sylvan Library and then see 1 new card this turn. Uh-oh, Uro's online. Their one card they found, their one new card was the land. Petty theft, annoying. Okay, that's back in my hand now. I got something like that too. Brazen Borrower. Oh, they have a lightning bolt again. Okay. I'm pretty close to casting this troll. I don't think I cycle it here. Oh, now I do. All right, swamp cycle one of these. Try to line up the next one. Yeah, I'm behind now. That was a exciting game of Sylvan Library and no other resources versus the top of my deck. And they are coming out ahead. That first Force of Will on that first Brazen Borrower on the first Sylvan Library just pulled them just ahead enough that they can start doing other stuff. Life from the Loam. Okay. I like that they're not just shoving the Uro. And they're setting up a position where Uro just solos once they find the action on him. But I like that they haven't just shoved it. Lorien Revealed. I'm going to cast that card. They have one unknown card in their hand. Sick. All right, force blue card. We're hanging out. Brazen Borrower can't block this. I'm going in. Library trigger. They didn't end step the Brazen Borrower. They're playing really careful around something. Like, they could have shoved Uro there, and even if they didn't shove Uro there, they could have presented Borrower to start clapping me back. I'm trying to figure out what they're doing. I'm not saying, like, oh, they're obviously just punting. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they have a plan here. Maybe they have some sweeper. I am going to force Uro pitching Sauron's Ransom. And then I can hold up Hardcast Force next turn. And the Fatal Push also, like, pretty reasonable here. Maybe I force pitching Force. And then if they fight back on this, Fatal Push clears the Uro, and then I rebuild. Okay, they did force me back, pitching Ponder. You're going to get an Uro trigger. Fetching in response. Okay, here's Uro. Your life total rebuilds. A fetch land to turn on Fatal Push is really good for me here. They did hit the land, and they have DRC. Okay. Fetch land, that was my best draw. My opponent currently Hellbent. I have one fetchable left in the deck. Or no, I have Mystic Sanctuary. I forgot about that card. I like that one. Okay, do I want Reanimate on top of my deck here? Can't put back Bowmaster. Lorien Revealed's too slow. I think I do want the Reanimate on top of my deck. Okay, Mystic Sanctuary. Get back Reanimate. Yes. Sauron's Ransom. This gives me a bunch of cards and a homie with unblockability against their creatures, and I'm about to kill all their creatures. So if I Reanimate, I go to 5, and this Brazen Borrower's over there somewhere. Reanimate Bowmaster, and the face down pile might be better than that. Yikes. I am gonna choose the pile of face-up awesome cards. Murktide Regent Brainstorm is what they got rid of. Fatal Push targeting Uro. Fatal Push targeting Dragon's Rage Channeler. Reanimate. Troll does not quite put them dead on board. What does Bowmaster do here? Is Bowmaster better than Troll somehow? Troll, they can go in on Sylvan Library. Bowmaster, they go to 7. They draw 2. They go to 5. And I have a 4/4. Yeah, Bowmaster's actually also lethal if they go in on Library. And if they don't, then I can nickel and dime them with the other Bowmaster they just gave me. This also pressures Uro meaningfully. They did not draw any extra cards there. They can escape Uro. You can't decline that draw. And they can't block my Orc army. They do go to 8 here. I might have forgotten that Uro gains life. There's a lot going on. But I think that's an argument even more so against the Troll. Because the Troll is the most fragile thing, and it leaves me at the lowest life total. They dredged Loam, so they didn't actually draw a card there. Uh-oh, fetch land is scary. Oh, they found a Wasteland. That might be what's going on here. They're going to start wasting me. Yep, picked up 2 Misties and a Wasteland. There's Wasteland. That takes me off casting my other Troll. I wonder if they even bother with that. Because that also casts Brazen Borrower if they have a fetchable left in the deck. Wasting my Mystic Sanctuary. Okay. Oh, wait. The Ring Bearer. Yeah. This can attack here. Grief. Oh, baby. That Wasteland was really good. As they tend to be. Keeping me off a double spell. Don't like it. They can waste me every turn, and they are incentivized to Dredge Loam because it keeps Bowmasters from triggering. Do I just spend 2 cards to Grief here? Seems not right. They know about the other Bowmaster. They gave it to me. Okay, I'm going to play the other Bowmaster here. Ping your face. Back with my unblockable 3/3. Put you to 3. And how much longer do I think this game's going to go? Yeah, I think I hold the Grief here. Because they started last turn with 0 cards in their hand. Decline the library, as you have to do. If they Dredge Loam and find a Lightning Bolt here, I actually lose if I don't block. Maddening Hex. That card's annoying. Mostly planning on casting creatures, though. Non-creature spell, yeah. My whole hand is creatures. You're going to Dredge Loam here. Yeah, I actually have to block this. Yeah, they have the Brazen Borrower. That's a lethal attacker. Okay, I'm going to cycle for my last land. Let's make sure my hand is all gas, or my deck is all gas from here. Daze, that is shitty. Grief you. Oh, I actually didn't even want to take that. That's annoying. But there it is. It's been done. If I attack for 3, they go back to 6, block with Bowmaster, then 6 comes back through, and it's all mostly unblockable. Yeah, leaving Bowmaster back to block is the play here. Grief is a better attacker. I have 2 exactly lethal creatures with evasion. Okay, go. Brazen Borrower's in. Library. Decline. I hope that spell wasn't good. There's the Wasteland. I'm going to float black. Not that it matters. I'm not casting a spell. Unless they like tap all of their lands for 4th Aerolingus. I am for sure not doing anything here. Okay, yeah, they can Dredge Loam, but then they know they're not getting a spell. And if their spell in their hand doesn't save them, they might just have to endure a Bowmaster ping here. I have lethal anyway. But Bowmaster kills. Yeah, they did draw the spell. I'm going to kill the Brazen Borrower. That protects me. I can just go to 3 here, but we've seen Lightning Bolt. Yeah, I'm going to block and hope that my 2 evasive creatures get it done. What was your last spell? Uro. Oh no. And now they're unlocked from drawing cards. That's really bad. They can Uro multiple times here, draw multiple cards. Ugh. Why, universe? Why? It's because they registered Uro and they're very smart. That's the real answer. Yeah, they can play another untapped Uro here. Here's this. Triggers them up to 12 life. Ugh. And the Uro in the graveyard can refire them up to 15 next turn. This race is becoming pretty miserable. I need another Bowmaster. That is a fetch with no targets. I'm going to attack with 2 unblockable creatures and just hope that I win this race somehow, but I think that did it. 1 wild draw step, and now library's back on and everything. Freaking Uro players, man. Okay, they fetch down to 4. Now going to 7 doesn't save them, but they get to attack and play Uro, so they're actually at 10 here. Yep, I have no Bowmaster for you in combat, which is what I really want. Okay, I'm at 3. Dead to a Lightning Bolt. There's 3 of them in the graveyard already, and 1 in exile. Okay, all their bolts are accounted for. And their Mystic Sanctuary is already in play. Questing Druid, just heads up. Okay. Oh, multiple of those. Don't even want the cards. Oh, Minskin Boo. Okay, yeah, I'm just dead. They throw their 6-drop at me, and that's that. Okay. Wow, we went this whole game without them showing me a Questing Druid. Okay, yeah, that was super tight. Came down to some tight top decks once again, but I mean, that's what Uro does. Opponent, I still think played that game way too carefully. They could have had me dead like 3 or 4 turns earlier if they just shoved Uro when it was available. That Brazen Borrower, no play, still interesting. Plague Engineer on human. Pretty sure Questing Druid's a human. I know Dragon's Rage Channeler is. Yeah, Questing Druid is a human. Looked it up. Confirmed. I do like Surgical because Uro is so hard to beat. And I think this is what I did last time. Though I didn't have Plague Engineer last time because it didn't show me a reason. I see a bunch of targets for Fatal Push in this deck, though. I do want some number of forces, but maybe not this many. It can get lower on Daze and get lower on Fatal Push. Sheoldred's Edict, 1 push, 1 snuff out, still here. Plus the Bowmasters and Borrowers. Yeah, I'm going like this. Let's do it. Another one of these no-landers. troll the whole grief scam, everything here, but no land to start it. Ugh. 16 lands, huh? That's what we're doing here. We're playing with fire in the mana base construction, and it's really hit me throughout this league. I keep this bottom Snuff out, and either Daze or Voidwalker. I think it's Daze, or Force of Will doesn't work if I bottom the Daze, so I'll bottom the Force. And I'm going to play Wasteland and pass, because if they just choose Wasteland me, I'm not trying to lose to that. Misty Rainforest. We've seen Stifle in their deck. Okay. Pass the turn. I'm going to Bowmaster in the end step. Maybe I should have done it in the main, or in their upkeep, when Daze was active. And if they just bolted immediately, that doesn't matter too much. Okay. I'd like a black source here to get Voidwalker in. Now that that's happened, dope. We're in business. Attack you. Wasteland your red. I can Daze a Stifle. Knowing that they have Daze is why I Wastelanded first. It would have been better for Volcanic Island to be in exile than in the graveyard, knowing they're a loam deck. I'm presenting my threats here. DRC, who hopefully will never become delirious. Not if I have anything to say about it. Ponder. Lands and Brainstorm. I do like these lands. Both of them. Both a situation. And I'm perfectly happy trading my Orc army for your card selection. In we go. And I'm going to pass. Another land, go straight into the void. Another land in the void. If they're tapping out for some 3-drop, the Daze is bonkers here. Maddening Hex, I'll let them surveil first before they know if this resolves. Daze, that puts Maddening Hex in the void too, where I can cast it if I want. We're in the void. Nice. Okay. I'm going to Brainstorm in the end step. There's another Brainstorm and another land on top. This is more lands than I'm going to need in life. I'll hold on to one of them, actually, knowing they're a Daze deck. In the void, there is a Flusterstorm, so I'm going to Bowmaster pre-combat here. Let's kill their Dragon's Rage Channeler. I could have Flustered Interaction. Yeah, they're done. Cool. Get up under them. The Dragon's Rage Channeler, being a 1-drop, is super annoying, because the rest of the cards in their deck are mega slow. Druid doesn't come online for several turns. Uro, you see coming a mile away. Murktide, if it's even in there, takes 1,000 years to show up. But DRC, there's just random opportunities to cheese me. I also just got them with the 1 Daze I left in. Now they have to think about it, and they know I left some in. Feels good, man. What are my answers to... Oh, I have 4 Bowmaster in my deck, right? And Edict, Snuff out. Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna go too crazy on the possibility of turn 1 DRC. Here's this shit again. 16 land deck. Mulligan. Okay, I'm in business. All right. Keep a nice tasty grief scam here. Bottom a Polluted Delta? Yeah, I think Wasteland just has a lot of juice in the matchup. Okay, bottom a Delta. That is the land that casts Veil of Summer. And we've seen Daze. I really don't want to get my Summer veiled, but alright. I'm pitching Troll of Khazad Dum and going for this. Stifle doesn't break this up meaningfully, but Veil of Summer is a huge blowout. They could Stifle the discard trigger, but that's just like, I'm discarding Stifle. Yeah, that's fine. We've seen Wasteland. I'm going to get Basic Swamp. Ooh, clever. Okay, well, they did have the 1-2 there. Well done. They played around Daze. They actually could have got me for more, but they chose to play around Daze here, which tells me they don't have another counterspell. I'm still getting Basic Swamp because my hand plays on it for a while, and I'm not in a hurry to just die to Wasteland. I want them to die to Wasteland. That's the game I'm trying to play. Brainstorm now before the Bowmaster that they just looked at comes online. Now Troll is a huge draw. And if this Brainstorm whiffs, I'll just waste them, and then we can stop playing Magic. Okay, they had another drop. That's not the play. A B-Storm, kind of unfortunate. I think I end-step this thing. Yeah, I'm just... Or main phase. It's the same thing. Do it on my turn, is what I mean. Okay. Wasteland. They can waste my waste and let me play on 1 land. They're worried about Palantir, is what they just told me. The Rebo Mastering. The next land's going to be a good one if it ever shows up. Uh-oh, that's their next land. I meant for me. Okay, Endurance is a card that might be on the radar here. Lightning Bolt. Okay. Attack. They know I have Reanimate in my hand because they saw it. Getting the Bowmaster Surgical with one in my hand would suck pretty hard. But I think this is just the best play. Yeah, alright, sure. Flusterstorm's the deal. Can I find my land before they dig out of this? Force of Will. Alright, now I have something backing up my situation here. Okay. Bowmaster was good for straight up 2 cards, the 2 Lightning Bolts. Yeah, they tapped mana, then changed their mind. Come on, deck. Seeking the Beast. I think this is a Force of Willable situation. That's a 3-for-1. Turned it into a 2-for-1. Come on, land. Reanimate. Okay. Reanimate Orcish Bowmaster again. I think that's better than Questing Druid. Keep sending these. Ah! This gets the one in my hand too. Jeez, what a friggin' draw. They clearly didn't have that 2 turns ago. Now I basically have no plan and nowhere to go with my life. Playing around Surgical would have been going after Questing Druid, but that card's so much worse than Bowmaster. And I had reason to believe they didn't have it. Fudge and A, man. True name Nemesis. Snuff out, cool. Yep, that is exactly the correct creature to beat me here. Okay. I understand wanting to test deck building limitations with all these exciting new cycle cards, and the fact that Troll builds so smoothly into the mana base and everything, but geez, this I've mulliganed more in this league than in all my previous leagues combined in my entire life, and also just it's turn 10. I've drawn 2 lands this game. I did pitch Troll of Khazad Dum. Maybe this is a me problem. Maybe you're supposed to just make sure you have your first 3 lands lined up before you start doing anything else, and then this deck will just roll spells for you. Maybe I did this wrong. And obviously, if you have your 2 lands under you to play the game with, it's just the nuts that you only draw spells for the rest of the game, but hurts to be this soft a wasteland. Like, my opponent did nothing for most of that game, and I just couldn't punish them. I hate that. On to the final round. You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7 Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7 Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7 Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. I'm on the play in the final round, and here we are again. Swamp does not cast Ponder, and I don't have any of the other cyclers in the deck. With 15 lands and 5 cyclers, 1 out of 20 cards lets me play this game, but I'm all again. Okay, this one is better. I'm going to keep it and send the... I think I send the Murktide. That's the one that is the biggest later problem. I do have a turn 2 Troll of Khazad Dum plus Wasteland You. Let's hope that's good in this matchup, because that's what my hand does. Underground Sea. End step, cycle Troll. Brainstorm in response, okay. I'm going to get an Underground Sea. I'm going to Wasteland them to turn off Daze. And then I'm going to reanimate my Troll. What do we got here? A Force of Will pitching Narcomoeba. Ew. So is this Cephalid Breakfast? Or is it some crazy dredge deck with Brainstorm and Force of Will in it? It's Cephalid Breakfast. Okay. At least I understand my enemy. Oh, there's Daze. Asshole. Showing up now. When last turn it would have soloed the game. Alright, Ponder. A Grief, a Troll, a Brazen Borrower. This does not actually present a threat. I suppose if I cycle Troll, that's lane number 3 for Brazen Borrower. I think a Shuffle's better, though. Yeah, this kind of sucks. Shuffle. There we go. Urza Saga. That's good for them. Stoneforge Mystic, that's also good for them. I think I want to Daze this. That gives me 2 layers. Because if they fight over the Daze, then I can Edict it. And if they don't, then I have mana up to Bowmaster. And I'm just going to chill back here for a minute. If they play Teferi, Bowmaster lines up extremely well against that card. Cabal Therapy. I'll Bowmaster in response and just make sure they don't get me on 2 there. I'd be kind of impressed if they name the correct card here. Force of Will. Nope. Handful of removal. A mana, a land, actual land is the best draw here. Oh, Snuff Out's really heckin' good too, though. I'm going to attack with my Orc army. Oh, right. They have Narcomoeba that can flashback Cabal Therapy and hit my removal. They're not going to name all my spells, though. Because hitting the Snuff Out's actually the nuts. Because now if they flashback Therapy, it's gone. And no matter what they name, I get 2 removals. Oh, we're suddenly deciding that this is a place we want to be. I'm going to Bowmaster and kill the Construct right now while it's still an X1. They just tapped out, so they can't combo this turn. There's Shuko. They Cabal Therapy me. They leave me with 2 removal spells regardless, and they're not just going to suddenly name Snuff Out after it not being in my hand last turn. No attack, that's fine. Oh, Reanimate, hello. I'm going to attack with everything. I really don't think they're going to block. And if they do, it turns off Cabal Therapy. Yep. Didn't think so. If I Reanimate, I only have Fatal Push available. If I Fatal Push, then Reanimate, their 3-card hand has to be Illusionist Force Blue card or Illusionist Daze. Yeah, I just pass here. I really like just having the walls up against Cabal Therapy in multiple directions. Cephalid Illusionist resolves. Okay, so they've chose to play around Edict by leaving Narco in play. I'm going to let Illusionist trigger. There goes Cauldra, Daze. And I'm going to Fatal Push the Illusionist now. They hit a second Narcomoeba. That's fine. Kind of hope they force blue card me here. Yeah. Hellbent opponent. Pitching Daze, mind you. And now I snuff out the Illusionist. Okay. I need them not to top deck another Illusionist right now. Or next turn. They can Therapy the Edict. Like attack for 2, Therapy the Edict. At least get rid of one thing for sure. But they're getting low on creatures to actually do their thing with. I like Brainstorm because the Edict doesn't actually kill what it needs to. Wasteland is GG, I believe. Sauron's Ransom, Troll of Khazad Dum go back. I am going to attack with everything. They're going to have a hard time getting 3 creatures in play with all 3 of their Narcomoebas gone because they pitched 1 to Force on turn 1. Second main, Wasteland, you're white. And Reanimate Troll. Yeah, okay, we're good. Just pick them apart, little by little. Removal spells, Graveyard Hate all coming in. Dress Down coming in. Null Rod does shut off Shuko. That's half their combo. I don't know if I need to go that deep. I also don't really like Force Negation because most of their important cards are creatures. What is actually important or not important in this matchup? I have to hit my land drops. Wasteland's really good. Force Will's really good. Grief's good. Maybe Edict is bad. Like, not only bring in that one, or not even, don't bring in this one and cut this one. With Bowmaster's Fatal Push and Edict, though Edict gets Cauldra, because you can name token creature and they'll usually only have the 1. Brazen Borrower also answers Cauldra. I think with all this hate coming in, I want to chill on Daze a little bit. Obviously, I recognize that card has a lot of relevant text in the matchup. I don't really love Murktides. And Sauron's Ransom's kind of slow. Does this make sense? If I win the game, I don't need a big animal like Murktide to do it. I just need to be alive long enough. And these things all keep me alive. Sauron's Ransom, I'm unlikely to need to reload, but I do like that it pitches to everything. I could cut another Ransom to get an Edict back in, just make sure I don't get clowned by Cauldra. Edict also clears Teferi, which is how they beat all these removal spells. Daze, my best weapon against Teferi, is no longer in my deck. I'm actually going all the way off Murktide and bringing a Shoulder's Edict back in. I think Sauron's Ransom between that and Murktide. I'd rather have Ransom. Ugh. I mean, I'm keeping this, but the Mystic Sanctuary is such a beating. 16 land decks, and one of them doesn't work. I'm still going to keep, though, because I can grief them, and the troll gets the party going and stuff. Keep my hand. Opponent went to 5, looking for that spice. Well, they might have found the spice, because here's that card. If they back it up with Daze... Okay, untapped land gives me a lot of freedom here. I'm going to grief, exiling, ransom. I think that's the farthest away from helpful right now. They're on 3, Cephalid Illusionist. I get that out of here. Swords of Plowshares in their grip. And I'm going to Underground Sea Ponder here. Well, if there's a second turn, these cards are quite good. So if there's a second turn, Bowmaster just stabilizes this shit anyway. I'm going to shuffle this, actually. This is just not really what I want. So, actually, I do want one of them, because I can't even necessarily play Bowmaster next turn. Okay, don't shuffle the library. I'll take at least one of them. And then this lets me line up a Cycle Troll in the upkeep, get a land. Okay, Ponder. Good, 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 good. That's not an Illusionist. Not right now, anyway. They had a pretty nice mull to 5, though. If this Plow was a counterspell, or I guess they can't even Daze, because then they can't play the Illusionist on 2. Yeah, that was pretty solid. In my upkeep, Cycle Troll of Khazad Dum. Their Ponder did not shuffle. Raisin B. I think I wait on the Fatal Push. Okay, they kept both of the top cards. If I just walked into Illusionist plus Daze, okay. This one's fine. You go ahead and tutor your Cauldra. I'll push the Stoneforge. I'm glad I waited, because push answers Stoneforge, and my whole hand answers Nomad. And I have perfect information about their hand. It's Swords to Plowshares, Cauldra, Fatal Push, Patience Rewarded. Dress Down's cool, but I'm just going to Bowmaster. I want them to have no parts of this combo. They can plow my Bowmaster, but that's fine. They got nothing going on. They're taking 1 every turn. And my hand is full of gas. And if they plow the Bowmaster, that lets the Voidwalker run rampant, which is what I'm really trying to do here. I feel like my spot is pretty good. I even have Brazen Borrower if they do get this Cauldron into play somehow. Okay, just making their land drops on the way up to 7. Gonna cast that Cauldron on me. Orc Army, go through. Troll of Khazad Dum, cycle that. Underground Sea, Dothy Voidwalker, let's go. Okay, they have to draw removal for Dothy Voidwalker and Illusionist and Nomad. A Brainstorm is the way the starts are. Well, there's that friggin' card. But they will end up with 2 cards in their hand here, which means it can't possibly be removal and both combo pieces. They can shuffle away the Cauldron, though, if they so desire. I'm just going to assume that they did that and click it away. I will play the Swamp. That lets me Dress Down and Brazen Borrower if I need to do both of those things. But they got to answer Voidwalker before I care about dressing down anything. Fetching into the Void for a basic island. I probably should have played Brazen Borrower in the end step, but I'm also just so rolled up here. So I could have been attacking for 7, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that does take a turn off the clock. Yeah, Brazen Borrower should have been in play. That was a whoopsie from me. Stoneforge, Mystic. I don't care. I could dress it down. Dressing down turns off Voidwalker for the turn, but it's not like they can combo if no creatures have abilities. I just tutored Shuko and played it. The Brazen Borrower, because I didn't jam it last turn, I have it available to answer Cauldra. The Bow Buddies. Alright, well, attack with everything. This attack with the Orc Army should tell them they have another Orc in my hand. And I'm happy to deploy it. 1 to your face, my Orc Army grows. We trade those off. You're at 5. You don't know you're dead on board. And them tutoring Shuko might mean that they kept the Cauldron, actually. I really hope Cauldron's in their hand, actually. Okay, now I'm going for Brazen Borrower. If they Force of Will it, it's fine. Okay, cool. They're just dead. Alright, a clean dismantling of Cephalid Breakfast, which I'm a little bummed about because I like that deck a lot, and having just handled it so smoothly with this deck makes me think that I probably should not play that, because this is likely to be a popular deck at Eternal Weekend. A positive record, though. Losing to 2 Uro decks and beating every deck that did not contain Uro. I am kind of unsurprised by that outcome, but even the Uro decks had to run pretty hot both of those opponents at multiple points who were like, one unknown card in hand, and it's exactly the best possible one against exactly what I'm trying to do. Good job. I expect Uro decks to be kind of popular at Eternal Weekend. People like that kind of Magic, myself included. I'm also a proponent of that type of Magic, and a lot of people watch my stuff, so they've heard me say I like Uro. They also just watched 2 Uro decks beat this deck in this league. And we have Graveyard Hate. We have ways to challenge an Uro. We can also just go bigger than it with Murktide and Troll. Your mileage may vary on that one. Just be aware that you're going in on a deck that bets discarding your opponent's hand early means they can't play the game, and Uro loves being discarded. That's just kind of a natural predator for this. And Swords to Plowshares in general, you just spend a bunch of resources on getting something like a Troll or Murktide in play, and it's gone for 1 mana. That's tough. But this deck is clearly powerful. Bowmaster clearly awesome. The Bowmaster Troll Reanimate Murktide Shell is really good. Days Wasteland Shadow is actually more popular than this build, according to MTG Goldfish, but that might be because this build is kind of new and emerging, and we might see some changes over time, especially if big names like HJ Kaiser are playing this deck instead. The land count, I'm really suspicious of. That might have been just me not fully embracing what I need to do. Like, you just need to always cycle your trolls to make sure your lands are under you before you start pitching to grief. Maybe that's a play pattern that will come out with a little more testing. Make sure you understand exactly how the mana base works before you just register this deck. It felt rough. I mulliganed a lot this league with a Brainstorm Ponder deck that can play on 1 or 2 mana. That I don't like that, but could have been partially my fault. Just make sure you get your reps and know how it works. Awesome deck, though. One of many ways to play tempo in this format. Check out our episode of Eternal Glory this week. That's the Eternal Glory podcast. You could Google it. It's on YouTube as well if you want to watch it there. But we talk about this, and I'm glad I got to feature it on the channel. Brendan, thank you for letting me play it. HJ Kaiser, thanks for putting the deck out there into the world. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.